Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to a new cycle on Global Television coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agumofwegwe, reminding our viewers that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes 276. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our 247 broadcasts. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has urged people, especially women, to give men the support and enabling environment to function effectively as fathers. Senator Tinubu gave the advice in Abuja in her message celebrating Father's Day. Father's Day is an international day set aside to honor fathers as well as fatherhood, paternal bonds, and the influence of fathers in society. President Bola Tinubu has paid glowing tribute to former head of state, retired General Abdulsalami Abubakar, on the occasion of his 83rd birthday, commending his lifelong dedication to the peace, stability, and democratic progress of Nigeria. In a statement by the State House, the president described General Abubakar as a patriot of uncommon integrity, whose exemplary leadership has left a lasting imprint on the country's political history. Tinubu specifically praised General Abubakar's significant role in Nigeria's return to civilian rule in 1999. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged President Bola Tinubu to take strong action against the injustice surrounding the annulled June 12, 1993 presidential election. The organization called on the president to support reforms that will protect Nigeria's democracy. In a letter signed by its deputy director, Kolawole Oluwadare, SERAP urged Tinubu to set up a presidential panel of inquiry to investigate the unlawful annulment of the 1993 election and identify individuals responsible for what it described as deliberate violations of Nigerians' democratic freedoms. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts and Public Assets has invited the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Olayemi Cardoso to appear before the House on Monday, June 16, 2025, over allegations of non-compliance with the provisions of Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. The top government officials are also expected to answer questions on the internal control weaknesses identified in the 2021 reports by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation. In a letter signed jointly by the Chairman, House Committee on Public Accounts, Bamidele Salam, and Chairman, Committee on Public Assets, Adomorin Kuye, the committee asked the Finance Minister and the CBN Governor to provide details on remittance of operating surplus to the Federation account by the Apex Bank in line with the provisions of relevant laws and regulations. Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in Plateau State, Reverend Father Polycarp Lubo, is dead. It was reported that Lubo died in the early hours of today at an undisclosed hospital in Jos after a brief illness following an accident last week. His death was also confirmed by a condolence statement signed by the Archdiocesan Chancellor of the Catholic Archdiocese of Jos, Daniel Gyang. Tension flared in Makurdi, Benue State capital, as security operatives moved in to disperse angry protesters who had barricaded the Wilcombe roundabouts in protests over the ongoing killings in their states. Our correspondent Felicity Ndere reports that the demonstration, which paralyzed traffic for several hours, once again underscores the growing frustration over the worsening security situation in Benue State.
Many angry youths in Benue State, including Vincent Ose, popularly known as Very Dark Man, have demonstrated their frustration through a protest as traffic came to a standstill as hundreds of them occupied the Wurukum roundabout, a major gateway connecting both northern and southern parts of Nigeria. Dressed predominantly in black and armed with palm fronts and placards bearing various inscriptions, the protesters voiced their anger over the renewed wave of violent attacks that have left several communities in Benue devastated. As the protest intensified, security force led by the Benue State Police Command arrived in large numbers to maintain law and order as well as prevent the situation from spiraling out of control.
The governor has already given us all the necessary support, all the logistic, every support we need. And we are not going to disappoint anybody. Just be patient.
Amid their demonstration, the protesters called on President Tinubu to resign if his administration is unable to contain the worsening insecurity in the north-central region, especially in Benue State.
A lot of killings have been happening in this state. And then our leaders, let me say, the number one citizen of the state has remained closed-mouthed. Mr. President has not spoken about the killings in Benue State. And we know that the primary aim, responsibility of a government is security of lives and properties. And this primary aim, if not achieved, any other aim is secondary aim. And when the primary aim of somebody is being defeated, that means the person is a failure.
Right now we are standing on the dead bodies of our mothers, our fathers, our brothers and sisters. We have become IDPs in our own very country. These killings have persisted for years. A lot of talks have gone on. Only last year, 500,182 people were displaced. We have 21 IDP camps in Benue. These killings won't stop. Up until this moment, nothing is being done. Why?
Other protesters also called for the stop of killings in Benue, saying their voices must be heard.
We're only crying out. It's a peaceful protest. If the governor wants to talk to us, he should come out and address us. He should come and address us, please. We are there. But if Benue State is not part of Nigeria, let us know. If Benue State is not part of Nigeria, let us know.
Yesterday, over 200 people were killed in their sleep. What kind of a thing is this? And Mr. President is quiet. The governor is quiet. These people are not asking for political alphabet. They are just killing people in their sleep.
As tension escalated, security operatives eventually moved in and forcefully dispersed the protesters. Many were seen fleeing as police cleared the barricades and reopened the roads to traffic. The protest was brought under control without any reported casualties, though heavy security presence remains in the area to foresee any further breakdown of law and order. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, Global TV News.
Thank you, Felicity. In the meantime, following the incessant attacks in Yellowater and other communities, protesters in Benue State have blocked the major road in Makurdi, the state capital, at Urukum Junction, leaving travelers stranded for hours. We'll continue to follow that development for you in the course of our broadcast. Let's turn to other stories for you now. Nigeria has called for the inclusion of youths in climate actions while addressing the Employment Climate Environment Challenge. Speaking on energy transition during a panel discussion on Global Coalition for Social Justice at the just concluded International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland, Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Mohamed Dingyadi, observed that with over 41 million people engaged in the informal biomass sector, even as youth unemployment remains a significant challenge, the Employment Climate Environment nexus is particularly critical. The Nigeria Union of Teachers, NUT, has urged President Bola Tinubu to prioritize teachers' values and welfare to make the profession more attractive to the younger generation. National President of the Union, Comrade Audu Amba, made the call in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria in Abuja, urging the government to make teachers role models and recognize the teaching profession as a pillar of societal advancement. Amba criticized the current situation where teaching is seen as what he calls Hobson's choice among admission and job seekers as a last resort. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has commended Saudi Arabia's authorities and Dalil Al Malim Transportation Company for their unwavering support and hospitality extended to Nigerian pilgrims during the 2025 Hajj operations. Usman speaking during the dinner hosted in honor of NACON by Dalil Al Malim in Makkah to mark the successful conclusion of the Hajj rites. The chairman and chief executive, Professor Abdullah Usman, also gave the commendation in a statement issued by the Principal Information Officer of the Commission, Malam Shafi Muhammad, in Makkah. Let's take you to Lagos State now, where the Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, has reaffirmed its preparedness to respond effectively to any flood-related emergency in the state. Permanent Secretary of the agency, Dr. Olufemi Oke-Oshanyetolu, made the statement during the flag-off of the 2025 Flood-Free Lagos campaign. He said the campaign is in response to early warnings from the federal government indicating that Lagos is among states at high risk of flooding during the rainy season. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has arrested a businessman, Ezemokwe Chukwuebuka Christian, at the Port Harcourt International Airport for ingesting 53 wraps of cocaine while on his way to Tehran, Khomeini in Iran. This came barely 2 weeks after operatives of the agency at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano intercepted the 60-year-old businessman Chinedu Leonard Okigbo heading to Iran with 65 pellets of cocaine in his stomach. Spokesperson of the agency, Femi Babafemi, in a statement said Ezemokwe was arrested on June the 7th while trying to board a Qatar Airways flying to Tehran, Khomeini in Iran via Doha. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has predicted thundery and rainy weather activities from Saturday to Monday across Nigeria. NIMET's weather outlook released on Friday in Abuja envisaged early morning thunderstorms on Saturday over parts of Taraba, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kaduna, and Adamawa states in the northern region. The agency also said thunderstorms with rains are anticipated over parts of Kebbi, Taraba, Zamfara, Borno, Kaduna, Sokoto, Gombe, and Bauchi states later in the day. And out to Nigeria Southeast, where the Anambra State Police Command has nabbed 2 suspects over alleged theft of 2 related minors at Opunooba, a Idemili South local government area of the state. The state's police public relations officer, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, made this known in a statement in Awka, the state capital. Ikenga said on June 12, police operatives attached to Ozubulu Division rescued the children between the ages of 3 and 5. Wonders the say shall never end, but good thing is the security operatives are on top of this situation now. You're on to the live broadcasts of News Cycle here on Global Television. When the rest of the news returns, Israeli military says intercepted 7 drones. Details of these coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. We appreciate you staying with us here on the news. Now, the second part of this broadcast returns with business, where the federal government has announced that it has taken additional steps in its quest to revive the moribund Ajaokuta Steel Company, a key industrial asset considered critical to Nigeria's manufacturing ambitions and job creation strategy. To resuscitate the long-abandoned steel company, the government says it has commenced high-level talks with leading Chinese steel conglomerates seeking technical expertise, financial backing, and industrial partnerships to return the facility to full productivity. The initiative, it says, is part of ongoing efforts by the Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Audu, who is currently leading a federal delegation to an investment drive to China to attract strategic investors and advance Nigeria's industrialization agenda. Oil production in Nigeria has decreased to 1,452,941 barrels of oil per day in May 2025. This is according to the latest crude oil and condensate production data released by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. This represents a 2.20% drop compared to the 1,485,700 barrels per day in April. Amidst the rising spate of food insecurity in the country, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has announced plans to hold a solemn prayer session. An internal memo signed by the Director of Human Resource Management, Adedayo Modupe, invited staff members to participate in a series of solemn prayer sessions aimed at seeking divine guidance and protection as the ministry supports the government's efforts to achieve national food security. Meanwhile, another memo signed by the director indicated that the prayer session scheduled to commence on Monday has been postponed till further notice. The latest development on that front is the ministry has come to clarify that scheduled prayer session was not in any way a part of the government's policy as far as agriculture is concerned. We'll keep you posted with developments on that front. But let's turn to the foreign scene in the meantime, where a helicopter carrying 7 passengers, the pilot included, has crashed in the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand, leading to the death of all its occupants. The report says 5 passengers, 1 child and 1 crew member were on board. This happened barely 3 days after an India airplane crashed into a residential area in Ahmedabad and killed more than 270 people. Nigerian nationals currently living in India have shared troubling accounts of mistreatment, extortion, and police brutality, experiences that have left many desperate to return home but unable to afford the costs involved. Some of them have lamented the harsh reality many face and urged for quick action, stating that protests have been staged against police brutality, including demonstrations directed at the Nigerian embassy in India, but to no avail. We're hoping that the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, as always, will swing into action in this regard. Let's turn to other stories for you. Israel's military says its forces have intercepted 7 drones launched towards its territory as air raid sirens sounded in the country's north. The military, however, did not specify where the drones were launched from. And now time to catch some quick excitement from the world of sports. The 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL season will kick off on Friday, August 22, 2025, that's according to the league body. Chairman of the NPFL board, Benga Elegbeleye, made this known at the Nigeria Football Federation headquarters in Abuja. The announcement is expected to be followed by the release of full fixtures for the upcoming season, as the Nigerian top flight organizers are still awaiting the 4 promoted teams from the Nigeria National League, which is the country's 2nd division. Away from soccer now, after nearly 4 years without a win and persistent questions about his decline, Kamaru Usman has roared back into relevance with a commanding performance at UFC Atlanta, one that reasserted his place among the greatest welterweights in MMA history. The former champion did not just defeat Joaquin Buckley, he dismantled him from the opening bell to the final horn. Usman relied on the tools that made him a legend: unrelenting wrestling, pressure, suffocating top control, and an engine that refused to slow down. It was vintage Usman, and the timing could not have been better. And that's the full cycle here on the news. Just to remind you quickly that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. As always, we encourage you to follow us across all our social media platforms using our Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. Download Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and all iOS devices, and stay in touch with our 247 broadcast. I'm Uyag Mufwebe. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you again.